So previously on the Bible, what we've seen happen thus far is God appeared to a man named Abraham and said, hey, you're going to have many, many, many descendants and great-great-great-great-grandchildren. They're going to make a nation, and they're going to have a land. And this is the land of Israel. And they are the Jewish people, or the Israelite people. Well, one of his great-great-grandchildren, Joseph, went to Egypt, became second in command, and then he invited all of his family, all of his relatives, his brothers, his father, Jacob, everybody, to Egypt. And it's kind of when you're closing Genesis, it's ending with Joseph passing away and them dying in Jerusalem or in Egypt, and you're like, oh, and they live happily ever after. But then you turn the page and go to the book of Exodus, and several hundred years have passed. It's kind of like when you're watching a movie. And it's like 30 years later. And you go into the future. So it's many, many years later. Hundreds of years go by. And the Israelites have many children. And their numbers grow to actually close to 1 million, if not more than 1 million people. And as their numbers grow, the memory of Joseph fades. The love of what Joseph had done fades. And the Israelites get threatened by the the Egyptians get threatened by the Israelites. Like, their numbers are growing, we don't like them, we don't know if they belong here. And so they actually use their army to enslave the Israelites. They force them into labor, and they enslave the people and do not let them leave and go back to Israel. And so the Israelites grow up doing hard labor. And even though they've been enslaved, they continue to grow in numbers. And so Pharaoh is so outraged as they continue to grow in population that he makes a decree that all of the boys of Israel, the young boys, the children, the babies in particular, will be killed. And they are thrown into the Nile River. It's a way of keeping the population down, but it is also a way of honoring their false gods. It is a sacrifice of sorts, a child sacrifice to the god of the Nile and the other gods of Egypt. It is wicked and evil. We'll come to that next week. But as all this is happening, one of the great-great-great-great-grandchildren of Abraham and Joseph, all the way down the line, is named Moses. And Moses is a baby. He is put into a basket. You probably are familiar with the story. His mother puts him in a basket and sets him off into the river for his own protection, that he might be spared. And as he floats along, he arrives at the princess of Egypt's home, or at least where she is bathing, and she then picks up the basket, and she then chooses to adopt and raise Moses as her son. And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the story, but who has heard of the story of Moses before? Anyone? Who has seen the movie Prince of Egypt? Anyone seen that movie? Great movie, great soundtrack. Highly recommend. Anyway, so you see then Joseph is raised as a prince of Egypt. He's raised in privilege. He's raised to know the language. He's raised with a lot of good things, being in the king's house. But one day he sees an Israelite being beaten by an Egyptian slave master, one of his people. And as he witnesses this, he steps in and he kills the slave master, and then he buries the body and he hides it. He, in his own power, tries to make things right. Well, when he is found out, he then runs for his life, afraid of what Pharaoh might do, and he runs into the wilderness. And as he is in the wilderness, he meets his wife. He enters into a new life. He starts over fresh, leaving behind his time in Egypt and saying, well, I'll live in obscurity, kind of as an outlaw in the wilderness for the rest of my life. So he marries this woman, marries into this family, and he becomes a shepherd for them. And he truly is content in many ways in his life, living in peace as a shepherd in the middle of nowhere. But then he encounters God in chapter 3. And so much changes when Moses meets God. So let's read here this meeting that takes place in chapter 3, verse 1 of the book of Exodus. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, a priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of God appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of the bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't the bush burning up? I must go and see it. When the Lord saw Moses coming closer to take a look, he called to him from the middle of the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses replied. Don't come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Pause there for a moment in the story. Imagine, if you will, that you are out walking your dog in your neighborhood. Maybe it's early in the morning, you're kind of tired, and your parents are making you do it, and you got your sweatpants on, your sweatshirt, you're walking your dog, and you're cold, you're like, hurry up and do your business so I can get out of here. And you're walking your dog around your neighborhood, and suddenly you see a mailbox on fire, okay? Now, this isn't exclusively a dude thing, but I just feel like it's something dudes do more than girls. Dudes love staring at fire, okay? We can stare at a good fire any day, okay? You see something on fire, bruh, and you want to get closer, and then you want to add to the fire, like, yo, I wonder if I melted this water bottle, what would it do? And so you throw things into the fire, you get close to the fire, you poke it, you just want to watch stuff burn. It's kind of fun to watch. It's a dude thing. But girls, you can do it too. Not hating on you, okay? Girl power, you do you. Anyway, so you see this mailbox on fire, and you're like, whoa, and you get closer, and your dog's kind of afraid, but you're like, get over here. You get closer, and as you get closer, you see that the mailbox, which is maybe a little birdhouse mailbox, I don't know, is burning, but it is not burning up. The fire is not consuming or destroying the thing that is on fire. It is a fire that burns, and yet it doesn't destroy. It doesn't burn out. It continues. It lasts forever almost. And you're staring at this mystery and you're confused by it. How can the fire burn and yet it doesn't consume or destroy? How can it last? And you're staring at it. And then suddenly a voice calls out to you, God's voice, and he says, your name. He says, your name. Now, to think that God knows your name, that he speaks your name, is amazing to me. And this voice calls out to you. And this voice says, Emilio, Emilio. And you're like, yes, Lord, if you're named Emilio, of course. And you call out, yes, what is it, Lord? And the voice says, some of my people in North Korea are trapped. There's a dictator named Kim Jong-un. I wish for you to go to North Korea, to set the millions of people free, and to bring them thousands of miles to a new land that they will settle. Now, if this happened, you'd probably have some questions, okay? Maybe Amelia would go, Lord, hey, not trying to dispute what you have to say. One, I don't speak Korean, okay? Two, there's kind of a North Korean army, they're kind of big and they got a lot of troops and they got a lot of guns and stuff. That wouldn't work. Three, I don't know much about geopolitical politics here and the tensions that are arising. Four, I don't know if I can, why would he even talk to me? Why would he allow me to go before him? Five, if I tell him a glowing mailbox spoke to me and God spoke to me, what do I say to him? Why would he even let me allow all those people to leave captivity? Why do you want me to lead a nation? How can I free them from a dictator with an army? Who am I? Am I really the most qualified person? Could maybe, I don't know, a president handle this who's good at making deals? Could anyone else do this? Why me? Could you send some Delta troop forces, okay? Could you do something? Why are you picking me? And this is Moses' response. He meets God, and the entire thing is confusing to him, and yet awe-inspiring to him. Let's break this scene down a little bit more, okay? Because I know I gave a funny analogy, but this was a holy experience. God says the ground that you are on is holy ground to Moses, and he tells him to remove his sandals. Holy means set apart, sacred, pure, distinct. For example, the Bible that you have in your hands, if you've got one of the ones that we pass out, says Holy Bible. Why? Because this book is unlike any other. This book is set apart. This book is not written by humans, it is written by God. It is an eternal word that will always be, that cannot be burned up or destroyed or forgotten. It will exist forever. It is also true to every degree. It is pure, and it is set apart. So this makes the Bible holy. When God says that he is holy, or that the ground that he inhabits is holy ground, what he's saying is, no one is like me. I am distinct. I am set apart. I'm not like the humans that you know. I'm not even like the other spiritual beings that exist. I am like no one else. He would describe himself as Yahweh, and Yahweh means existing one. Later, when Moses says, hey, when I get to Pharaoh or get to the Egyptian or the Israelites and they ask who sent me? What should I say? And he says, say that I am sent you. He describes himself as I am, meaning I exist. Now there is a powerful language being spoken here, a powerful truth being spoken here. God doesn't say I was. God doesn't say I will be. God says I am. Why? Because God is always present. My son asked me, he said, hey, Dad, this is Judah, my son. He's like, hey, Dad, who is God's father or parents? I'm like, he has no beginning. He's like, that can't be right. I'm like, no, it's right. And he's like, no, but every person, you said every person has a mom and dad. I'm like, right, every person does. But what about God? I'm like, God is unlike anyone. He is set apart. He is unique. He is distinct. Because what you are doing is you are looking at the world that you live in now. We live in a created world, and every tree was once a seed. Every atom had a beginning, a creation, an origin. And so what happens is we make a mistake where we take what we know of the world and then we apply it to God, thinking that he obeys the same rules as everything else. But God is saying, no. I am set apart. I am different. I am unlike any person that you have met. And he proved this when Jesus came into the earth. He came in a way that is impossible, at least to us. He was born of a virgin. How could that be so? Because he is unlike anyone else. How could he walk on water? How could he rise from the dead? How can he command oceans and waves to shut up and to cease? Because not only is he God, he is the God, unlike anyone else. I had a student ask me, how does God know the future? I said, well, God doesn't know the future. He is in the future. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, when Jesus is asked later who he was, he said, before Abraham was, I am. What he meant was, if there's a timeline here, and let's assume that the present moment is right here at the burning bush, okay? Before the burning bush, you have Abraham. And then after the burning bush, far into the future, you have Jesus. And then after Jesus, you have us here. And then even further into the future, you have the book of Revelation, okay? So you got your little timeline here. And here's Moses at the burning bush. God says, I am. Meaning I am present here right now, but I am present in every second in history. When Jesus says, I am, before Abraham, what he is saying is, I have always been and always will be. You and I don't need to guess the present. We're living the present. We are experiencing the present. It is right for you to say, I am here right now. I am experiencing this room, the sounds. I'm seeing visually what's happening. I am here right now. Jesus is saying, I am everywhere all at once, not bound in time. So Jesus doesn't guess the future. He's experiencing it in the present. He is an eternal present. He is right now at the burning bush. He is right now in this room. He is right now They're speaking to the Pharisees, saying, before Abraham was, I am. He is experiencing the last days and the first days all at once. You might say this doesn't make sense. You're right, because you are comparing God to your experience, and you and I are trapped in an eternal present. You cannot do anything with the past but remember it, and you can do nothing with the future but imagine it. But the present you are in, God is able to be in every second and every millisecond and every moment in history and every place at once. So he doesn't guess the future. He sees it. He's in it. He doesn't remember the past. He's experiencing the past, for there is no past, present, or future to him. It is all him. If I've confused you thus far, good, because God is beyond our understanding, and he is unlike anyone else. It must have been confusing for Moses when he's like, so who are you again? I am. Okay, you are what? So what are you? What does that mean? I am the existing one. Okay, so you have another, what does that mean? I'm trying to understand here, right? That. Try introducing yourself as that. Actually, don't. That'd be kind of blasphemous. Don't do that. But someone meets you hi, what's your name? I am. Excuse me? What? I am. You are Kevin? You are what? Give me something here, right? But let's see. Moses encounters God's holiness. He meets God. What happens to him? What is his response? The first response is a reverence. Bows low. He takes his shoes off. He draws near. It says that once he drew near to the bush, then God spoke. I hope that those of you that are going with us to winter camp, I hope that you seek to draw near to God. Because here's what you'll discover. As you draw nearer to God, you learn more about him. And as you learn more about him, you realize that there is so much more for you to know about him. It's like learning a mystery that truly never ends, for there is always one more twist or turn to learn. It's cool. My wife and I are coming up on 9 years of marriage, and we're thinking about our 10-year anniversary. My wife's like, can you believe we're going to be married for 9 years? That's wild. And so much of my wife is known to me. I understand her. I know her past. There's so few times where she tells me a story. I'm like, I haven't heard that one before. Or she tells me a new fact about her past that I haven't known yet. I can literally predict what movie she's desiring to watch. I can predict sometimes what kind of meal she wants to eat, what she's going to order at different restaurants. I get to know her so well that I can guess when she'll text me and how she'll text me and what her emotions are. And even without speaking sometimes, I just know what she's going to say because she is known to me. And I've spent time with her. And yet, no matter how long I spend with her, there is always a new thing to learn. Always something new to experience. Always a new depth to find. But this is just to know one person. God knows every person to a depth and intimacy that can hardly be imagined. He knows you better than you know yourself. And then God himself has more depth than every single human being put together. He is more of a mystery than anything in this universe, for he made everything in this universe. You can spend your entire life recognizing and learning about him, and yet there is more to be learned. I have spent so much of my life studying this book, learning about who God is, and yet all the time I'm geeking out with Gregory or with Christian or with Seth, talking about the Bible, learning about the Bible. There's always something new to be discerned from it, and something new about God's presence and experiencing him. Sometimes you guys get frustrated with me and my leaders. You get frustrated because when we're teaching or when we're worshiping, we tell you guys to be quiet, to not be a distraction, to not be tapping on your friend's shoulders or giggling or laughing or on your phone watching some YouTube video. We just ask that you be respectful And I think sometimes you misunderstand. We're not talking about respecting me or Rachel or Christian. This is a reverence and respect for God. This is his house. This is his service. This is not my service. This is his service. And when we worship him, it's not about just respecting the musicians that are up here. Of course, they do deserve respect. But this is about we are singing honor and praise and worship to the God who made all things. Can you not take 15 minutes to pause and be serious? Can you not, when we're teaching God's word, take just 25 minutes to listen to what is being spoken? If you give attention in a class to a test, can you not give it to this? Sundays are holy. Why? Because they are set apart for God, to go to church, to rest. We'll get to this in a couple weeks when we get to the 10 Commandments, but guys, God literally gives us the weekend. Like, Christianity made the weekend. Atheists can be like, I hate Christianity, nothing good comes from it. It's like, do you celebrate the weekend? Yeah? You're welcome, okay? Like, God gave that to you. Like, Christians literally, well, I shouldn't say Christians, but God created the weekend. You're welcome, okay? Enjoy, along with every other thing that's good and pleasing, okay? There would not be a Sunday or even a Saturday or a weekend, a time of rest, if not for this. But anyway, the idea is this time, this place is set apart for God. And when you spend time with God, enter it with a reverence, with a respect. When you pray, bring respect. When we sing, bring respect. When we're at camp and we're entering into cabin groups or we're entering in, we're not trying to force you into anything. We're trying to lead you to approach the burning bush, to draw near to the mystery, to see that there are supernatural things of this life and in this world and beyond this world and beyond this life. And maybe you're too far from that you need to lean into. You need to be quiet so that you can hear. Maybe there's more going on than the noise that is around you. This is why we have our time alone with God, our TOG at camp. Let's get quiet and let's sit in the stillness and listen for what God has to say. Let's open this Bible and draw near to the mystery that is consuming and burning and yet never ends. At Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit fell on the disciples, it said that it was like a fire, a flaming tongue that rested upon them. You and I as Christians should be like the burning bush. We should be burning and yet not being consumed. We should be a light in a mystery where the world looks at you and they're like, I don't understand you. Why do you speak the way that you speak? Why do you forgive the people that you forgive? Why do you have such discipline in your life? Why do you have such drive and purpose in your life? Where does that come from? And that people would even want to get close to you to discern the mystery, and you can say, let me show you the mystery. Before the world was, there was God. After the world is, there will be God. There is a truth, and his name is Jesus, and you can know him if you lean in. And you can share this if you live like the burning bush, if you will. But you must first draw near to be set ablaze. You must first draw near to the reverence and honor and respect that God has before you can shine any kind of light into this world. And Moses approached with a curiosity, with a reverence. Are the things I'm saying at all making you curious? Making you desire? Is there more? Is it more than just stories I heard when I was a kid? Is it more than just a book with some ink on a page? Is it more than just waking up on Sunday mornings? Is there truly a spiritual, supernatural side to things that I might have been missing? Moses also responds with humility. When he encounters the greatness of God, he sees his true position. I will come in here on some Saturdays or Fridays or whenever, And when I'm watching my kids, and I give my wife like a break either on Friday mornings or Saturday mornings, so she can sleep in and just get some chores done or whatever. And so I'll watch the kids till noon. So that usually means we wear our pajamas, we go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A and eat and play on the playground. And then sometimes we'll come here. And so we'll play some video games. So it's really funny watching my 2-year-old try to play Super Smash Bros. So it's like my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old daughter, Talia, and then my son, Judah, who's 6. And we'll play. And I'm like, really good. At least when I play them, right? I'm like really good. And sometimes I'll play a CPU that's like on 3 or 4, you know? It's like, whoa. And so I'll play against these guys, and after a while, I get kind of an ego boost. I'm like, yeah, I think I can play the boys and girls that play on middle school youth group. And so I'll wander over to the Nintendo Switch and be like, hey guys, can I play? I'm like, yeah. And then I realize how I'm not very good. Y'all are too good, okay? Some of you need to stop playing because you're too good, okay? You need to go do some homework or something, okay? I jokingly said to my wife, I'm like, if Judah gets too good at video games for me, I'm just gonna like make him do more schoolwork so, you know, I can practice. But anyway, like, I realize some of you are absolutely great, but then there are professional players who are on a whole different stratosphere. And you realize, oh, okay, I have been humbled. Why? I thought I was great, but then I met someone who was truly great. And my humility comes from seeing something that is more powerful or greater than I am. Moses' humility came from, I am meeting the God who is before time, who knows all things. How can I stand before him and say, hey, what's up? Like, who am I to treat him as an equal? He bows in his presence. He recognizes this God is far beyond anyone. No one can stand before him. I don't mean to criticize anyone when I say this, but some students ask me, is Satan as powerful as Jesus? Are they equal? And I say, Satan would love you to believe that lie. It is not so. Satan is nowhere near as powerful as God. It is no contest. It is no fight, no contention to be had. No one is like God, for he is holy. Now, Satan might believe that he is, but he is shown to be as he is before the greatness of God. We need to approach God with humility. And in this humility, it should lead to obedience. To be disobedient is to say, my way is better. I want something different than you want. I think that I am better than you. I think I know better than you. Or I think my life will be better if I choose a different path than the one giving me an instruction. To obey is to say, I trust you even though I don't understand. I trust that you know better than me. I trust that you care for me. And therefore, I will follow your instruction because I respect you. Moses obeys when God tells him to take off his shoes, he takes off his shoes. When God tells him to go, he goes. Now, it takes some time because Moses must overcome his fear. But let me say this. Do not live your life by making decisions based on what is the least scary thing to do. Live your life by asking what is the most God-honoring thing to do and then do it. Sometimes God will ask you to do things that are scary. It's because he's asking you to do something that is great. And you will not live a great life if you pick the easiest thing or the thing that is most comfortable. But he says to Moses, I want you to do this. And Moses has all these excuses. Someone else is better. Someone else could speak better. I'm not equipped. And God's like, but I'm using you. Do you trust me? You're focusing on you, Moses. Every time Moses made an excuse, he was talking about him. And every time God gave an answer, God was talking about himself. He's like, Moses, your fear will melt away when you focus on me. Don't you realize the power is me, it's not you? Don't you realize the way is me, it's not you? The power is not Pharaoh, it's me. Trust me. Even if you don't understand me, obey me. Know that my way is better. And then finally, there is a newness to Moses. Moses leaves the burning bush. He leaves after encountering the mystery of the supernatural, eternal being. And as he leaves that mystery, he is no longer a shepherd. He is no longer a coward. He is now not just a leader of sheep, he is a leader of millions of humans. He is not a fugitive on the run, he is freeing captives. And he leaves this place not perfect, but changed. I said this at the high school camp, and I'll say it here as I close. If you came to church today and you're like, hey, Barrett, and I'm like, hey, how was your drive here? And you're like, oh, man, it was crazy. Our car was hit by an 18-wheeler, literally a semi-truck going 80 miles an hour, T-boned our car. I'd be like, so you're lying? And like, what? What do you mean I'm not lying? I'm like, yeah, you're like walking and talking and moving and not bleeding, right? Like, I saw your car pull up. It looked fine. Like, there's no way. You're like, no, I totally encountered an 18-wheeler going at 80 miles an hour. I'm like, no, you could not encounter something that powerful, that has that much mass, that much energy, that much centripetal force, that much of a speed that hit you, that you encountered, and not be physically altered forever, changed into microscopic molecules as you are obliterated. It's not possible. When Moses encountered God, he encountered a force, a power that was beyond anything that he had ever seen or ever would see. And he was changed by encountering that force. Might you and I be changed as we encounter God, little by little. May you be changed by God as you encounter him through reading your word, through going to camp. And might we be changed in the way in which we engage in our lives.